Hey y'all, welcome to the Traveling Tony channel. I'm Traveling Tony. Make sure to share this video with your friends and hit the thumbs up on this video and share it and subscribe to my channel, please. Um, Today I want to talk about some more fun times in my life, and I've had a lot of fun. I know I've been talking about serious things, but um, and I'm more of a playful person than I am a serious person for us talking about racism all the time. But we had to discuss these issues, and we're still not done with discussing them. But right now, I want to show you the other side of me that maybe I haven't showed you too much of, and that is really a big part of my personality. And I want to go back and tell you about some funny things that have happened to me in my lifetime that I still talk about today. When I was in middle school, uh, just to give you a little bit of insight on me back then, I wasn't a, I was a barely passing student. Just say that. School was hard on me, but I come from an era, and I had good parents that I better not have the teachers and principals calling my home for anything. So I didn't get in trouble for as acting out or anything like that. My grades were barely passing, things like that, and so I got in trouble at home for that. But other than that, I was a good student, and teachers liked me, and the coaches liked me because I was an athlete. But in middle school, I I had this incident happen to me with one of my close friends, and back in the day when I was going to school, most of the time we got along with our white friends, and but if you were black, you kind of hung around with your black friends, and it just kind of was people match up. But I had this one black guy that he didn't live in my neighborhood, but we were friends at school, and he was smart, and and he studied, and I didn't know how much he studied, but I just know he was smart, and so we matched up as friends. I met him in elementary school, but when we got to junior high, I had a class with him, and I would sit behind him and cheat when it was time to take a test, and because Tony didn't want to study because I had ADD. And so I couldn't. There were times I went home and I'd make an attempt to study, but I just couldn't stay focused. So this particular time, we were in middle school, and I'm sitting behind him, which I always chose to sit behind him so I could get him to scoot his paper over, so I could look at his answers and cheat. And he did that a couple of times. And after class, he would tell me, Tony, you need to study. I study, you need to study. And I, shuck him off. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so he says, I ain't going to keep doing this. So one of the last time that um, I wanted to cheat off of him, he turned me in. But the time before that he did turn me in, I was sitting behind him. We had a test, and the teacher passed the test out, and everybody put their head down, and they're studying and working on the test. And the teacher goes back and sits down and starts reading the book or whatever. And I'm looking at the test. I don't know nothing on the test because I didn't study, didn't pay attention. And I'm looking at him, and he don't have his paper over where I can see it. So I nudge him in his side, and I think at this particular time, this was next to the last time. He does it. He scoots his paper over, and he don't want me to fail, so he scoots his paper over so I can read it. And once that was over, he tells me I ain't doing that no more. I ain't doing it no more. I said, oh, okay, okay. And so I don't know, a week or so later, we take another test, and teacher does the same thing, pass the test out, and goes back to her desk and starts reading the book. And I'm looking around the room. Everybody's got their head down, working on their test. And I looking at my test and don't. Hey, I ain't gonna pass this test. I don't know what's on the test. So I poke him in his side for him to scoot his paper over and raise his arm up where I can sneak and look. And he kind of jerks away from me like, "Stop, get back." And I raised back a minute because I'm actually shocked that he's being resistant. And so I wait a few minutes and I look at the paper. I say, I don't have a chance but to try him again. So I poke him again, and he raises his hand up to the teacher, but she don't see him because she's reading a book. And he raises his hands up real high and says, "Teacher, teacher, Tony is cheating." Oh man, I couldn't believe my best friend turned me into the teacher for cheating. So I ended up out in the hallway. And just my luck, the principal comes by. He liked me, but still, I'm in the hallway, and he wants to know why I'm in the hallway. I don't remember what I told him because I was in middle school. I'm 60 years old now. I don't remember, but it wasn't good. And to this very day, I tease him about that, about me cheating off of him and him turning me in. And so many, many years later, I watched him have a family. And I moved on the street where, in the neighborhood where he was raised at. And so when he went off to college and then he got married and then he had kids, and he would come back to see his mother. So I was in the same area where his mother lived at, so he would come in the neighborhood to visit all of us. And sometimes I would go over to his mother's house while he was in town and visit. And I was, so excited to see his kids, his offspring. And I was telling his kids, he would introduce them to me as Mr. Tony. And this is my friend I grew up in school with and went to classes with, this and that. And I started telling these kids that story. And at the end of the story, I would tell them, now, you make sure you pay attention to your dad and listen to your dad, because your dad is a successful man and he studied. Now you can be like your dad and study, or you can be like me and work at this particular job and not study, and you end up be like me. Oh, my friend corrected me. And he says, Tony, the joke, it was kind of funny about me turning you in, but don't tell a story like that, because what you did in your lifetime, you held a job. It was important. What you did was still important. So just don't tell a story like that. But I just thought it was hilarious that he turned me in, and here I was trying to cheat and had been cheating, but he got tired of it. So, and to this day, we're still good friends. And he went on to be in the military and ended up being a rear admiral. So this guy was very successful, made a lot of money, and traveled the world. So education does matter. So that was my story. And I have more stories that are fun and on the light side of my personality, and something positive. And so I just want to share that with you. And I'll be back at you with another story of fun and excitement. And until then, be nice to each other.